Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick. It's Tuesday at 10, talking about some new releases coming out this Friday, September 22nd. There's a little over 550 albums coming out this week. I got 14 on the list for today. There's a bunch of links down below. Make sure you check them out. There's links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music playlist that we put together every week, and the Patreon page. Make sure you go check all that out. Of course, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. Like I said in the intro, there's a little over 550 albums coming out this week. I'm only going to talk about 14 on the show today, so if there's something I don't talk about, make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to picking up this week. And like always, if you're unable to find any of these in your local brick and mortar stores, they should all be available online. I'll put the links down below for them. There's a couple of big box sets coming out this week. The first one here, this is Devo, the studio albums, 1996 to 2004. This is a 5 LP, 1 and 7 inch box set. It's going to run you about $175 online. I know there's a colored version of this, because that's what I saw on most of the websites I went to. And then when I was on Amazon, there's not a color description on there. So I think there might be a black version of this that's also floating around out there. So this celebrates the final 4 albums of Dio's great career. You've got Anger Machines from 1996, Magica from 2000, which Magica is the only double LP of the set here. You got Killing the Dragon from 2002, and then Master of the Moon from 2004. There's also a 7-inch that's got Electra on there. So some kind of cool stuff that's in this box set. I feel like $175 is a little pricey for, at least for me. I'm not the biggest Dio fan, even though I have kind of gotten more into his stuff over the last year or so. And then you've got Candlebox Maverick Years coming out. This is a 7 LP box set. So this is the first 3 albums from Candlebox's career. So you've got their self-titled release, you've got Lucy, and then you've got Happy Pills. All those are on double LP releases. And then there's also another LP that's in this box set with like demos and alternate mixes, things like that in there. Looks like it's kind of a cool set. My thing is with it though, I mean, for me, I've already got the self-titled album. I've already got Happy Pills. Lucy's the only album I don't have on vinyl. That's going to run you about $150 online. Am I really wanting to spend $150 just to get that one release? Probably not. So I mean, this is the first time that Lucy's ever been released as an individual album. It's been released two times previously, but it's always in like a combination set with the self-titled album, which I think you can pick that up on Discogs for like $50 or $60. So that's probably the way I'll go. Like I said, since I've already got those other 2 albums, I will say that if you're unfamiliar with Happy Pills, I think Happy Pills, in my opinion, is the best of those 3 albums. I know that they had a couple of huge tracks off of their self-titled album. I think overall Happy Pill is the better album. But this is all being released by Rhino for celebration of the band's 30th anniversary release of their debut album. So, like I said, I'll probably pass on it just because I've got 2 of the 3. But if you don't have any of these albums, I think it's a good box set to grab. The next one's a pretty interesting album from the 90s that, to be completely honest, I'd almost entirely forgotten about. I knew two big tracks off of this album, but the rest of it I had to go back and stream within the last day or two because, I mean, it'd probably been almost 30 years since I've listened to this album. But this is The Breeders' Last Splash, released in 1993. It's their second studio album. This is a 3 LP deluxe edition that they're releasing. The first 2 discs in this release are the standard album. It's all newly remastered, cut at Abbey Road. It's all half-speed mastered, runs at 45 RPM. I'm sure it sounds absolutely fantastic. But during the remastering process, they discovered 2 tracks that the band had recorded during the recording sessions for this album and then never did anything with. They weren't part of the album. They weren't part of any other release after the album came out. So the third album in this set, I'm not sure if it's a 12-inch release or if it's on 7-inch. Couldn't really tell from the description. But it's just those 2 tracks. So I don't know if it's like 2 tracks on one side, if it's a 12-inch, and then there's like an etching on the other side. I'm not really sure how they did that release. But it is a really good album. For $48, so I think it's a little pricey for me. And then the next one is B-52's Time Capsule, Songs for a Future Generation. Released back in 1998. It's a double LP. It's the greatest hits compilation that the band did. But this is pink and purple vinyl. It's going to run you about $35. 16 great tracks from the band. I'm not the biggest B-52s fan. This is definitely something I could probably get into. I think I've got Cosmic Thing as the only B-52's album that I actually own. They do have some other good albums. I just never got around to picking them up. So this is probably one that I'll grab. This is the first time it's ever been released on vinyl. And there's also 2 tracks around this album that were new at the time. So in 1998, when it was released, there were 2 new tracks that the band put on the album. So that's also included on here. There's another big box set that's coming out this week. This is Devo, Art Devo. This is a new compilation album that they put together. It's a 3 LP set with 1 7-inch. It's going to run you about $136 online. So I guess comparing this to that 3 LP Breeders release for $48 definitely makes that Breeders album look pretty damn affordable. But this is all music from the early period of the band's career. It's mostly unreleased. If you're a Devo fan, it's definitely a cool one to grab. But this is like basement recordings on here. There's original demos. There's unfinished recordings on here. There's some rare live stuff also. Kind of a cool set in a nice box set. Looks like it's gonna be a pretty cool release. There's a couple of different variations color wise that's available if you go on Devo's website. I think the one that's on Amazon is just the black release, but if you go on Devo's website, and I think the label's website also has like exclusive color releases for this box set. And then you got Paula Cole, This Fire, being reissued this week. This was first released back in 1996. That's her second studio album. It's going to run you about $33 online. So with this album, Paula Cole became the first female to ever be solely nominated for a Best Producer award for the Grammys. It was a huge album when it came out. It sold a couple million copies. Where Have All the Cowboys Gone and I Don't Want to Wait were the two big tracks off of this album. It's a great album though if you go back and check it out. She kind of paved the way for some other female artists in the mid to late 90s. We're getting the new album from Staind this week. This is Confessions of the Fallen. It's their 8th studio album. It's on translucent orange with black and white splatter vinyl. No, not sure why it was so hard to say. It's going to run you about $27 online. It's their first new album since their self-titled album came out in, I think, 2011. And to be completely honest, I don't think I've listened to a Staind album since probably 14 Shades of Grey, which I think was 2003 when that album came out. So I'll go back through and stream it this week when it comes out, and I'll stream some of the other stuff also. I kind of, like I said, I like a couple of their first albums. Never was a huge fan of the band though. So like I said, I'll add that to my streaming list this week. And then you've got Madonna, Madam X coming out. This was released back in 2001. It's a triple album. It's a live album. It's going to run you about $50 online. This is all recorded in January 2020 during her Madam X tour, which that album was huge. I think it was her 9th number 1 album overall. So this is all tracks, of course, from that album. And then she also covers a bunch of great tracks from across her career. There's 22 tracks overall total on the album. It's this will be the first time it's available on vinyl. Madonna is somebody that I've always been kind of casually interested in. I like some of her stuff in the 80s, early 90s also, but I think after that I kind of lost interest in a lot of her music. But, kind of along the same lines of Staind, I got to go back through it. I'll stream that this week and kind of go back through some of her stuff also. The next album is one that had not been for a comment in one of my videos. I think it was last week, maybe the week before. I might have skipped right over this one, but this is Andy Taylor, Man's a Wolf to Man. It's his third studio album. It's going to be on white vinyl. It's going to run you about $29 online. This is, of course, Andy Taylor's best known for a guitarist for Duran Duran, but this is his first solo album in 33 years, so it's been a long time since he's released anything. This album was written and kind of the recording process was started during the lockdowns in 2020. It's taken him a couple years. Andy's got some health issues, so it's kind of taken a while to work on this album to finally release it. I think I've listened to his first solo album. I never listened to his second one, at least off the top of my head, I didn't remember it. So I'll definitely stream this one and check it out this week. Then you got Dangerous Toys, Vitamins and Crash Helmets Live. This was first released back in 1999. It's a double LP. It's going to be on red vinyl. This is a live greatest hits collection from the band. It's going to run you about $28 online. It's all newly remastered. It's got some new artwork to it. I actually kind of prefer the original artwork to the new artwork, but I'm also not the biggest Dangerous Toys fan either. But if you're unfamiliar with the band, they're one of those kind of, I guess, glam metal bands, late 80s, early part of the 90s. They actually did, I liked their first album. Their second album I didn't think it was all that great. I don't know. I know a lot of people out there love their second album, but I really liked the first one. Didn't like really anything the band did after that, though. There's a great punk album that's getting reissued this week. This is Rancid's debut album from 1993. It's going to be on white and black splatter vinyl. It's going to be about $27 online. Rancid's a great band. They were born out of the ashes of Operation Ivy, who was one of the most influential punk bands of the late part of the 80s. Some really great stuff. So Tim Armstrong and Matt Freeman were both part of Operation Ivy. When the band broke up, they formed Rancid, and Rancid would go on to be one of the most influential bands of the 90s also. So, some really great stuff that they released over the years. But their first album is, I think, very different from the albums they would go on to release after that. This album here is even different than what Operation Ivy did. When Operation Ivy released Energy, it would definitely had a lot of like ska influences on there, as some other stuff that they would incorporate into their music. But when Rancid released their debut album, it was very much like a straightforward, high energy kind of punk album. It's a great album. It's, you know, in my opinion, it's one of the best punk albums of the early part of the 90s. It's just a classic album. So you got that one coming out this week, and then you get the last three on the list are all part of the 50th anniversary celebration of hip-hop. These are all indie exclusive releases. You won't be able to get these on from Amazon or any other big box stores online. These are only going to be available at your local record stores. I will put links down below if you want to pick up these last three albums from one of my local record stores. But the first one, this is Beastie Boys' Licensed to Ill. First released back in 1986, their debut album. It was absolutely huge. I mean, this is going to go on to sell over 10 million copies. It's I've already got a copy of it, so I won't pick up this one. But the interesting thing about these releases is all three of these releases are on, it's, you know, fruit punch vinyl, which it's just a reddish kind of color, which I think is kind of an odd color selection for these three albums. But, you know, I guess it's not really up to me to pick there. But it's, of course, Brass Monkey, No Sleep Till Brooklyn, you know, You Gotta Fight for Your Right to Party. Those are all huge tracks off this great album. The next one's a great rap album, one of my favorite rap albums of the late part of the 80s. And it's an album that really kind of helped change rap music moving forward. It just this is an album that was largely kind of responsible for getting me into rap. I was probably 8, maybe 9 the first time I listened to this album. But this is Public Enemy, Yo Bum Rush the Show, first released in '87. It's their debut album. It's gonna be on that same colored vinyl, indie exclusive release, only available through record stores. Like I said before, I'll put a link down below if you want to grab a copy of it. It's going to run about $32 online. This was one of the fastest selling hip hop albums of the late part of the 80s. Just a huge album. And what Public Enemy was doing with their music was so different than what some of the other rap artists were doing. If you think like MC Hammer or Run DMC, Public Enemy had a lot more social commentary in their music than a lot of other people did. Really kind of helped change rap music moving forward. Really kind of like before this album and before Public Enemy, I called it the kindler, gentler rap. And, you know, it was this album, it was, NWA, artists like that really kind of moved rap in a very different direction. It's a great album. Like I said, one of my favorite rap albums of the 80s. And then the last one on the list is Slick Rick, The Great Adventures of Slick Rick, released in 1988. It's his debut album. Like I said, same thing as the other ones. It's only going to be available in brick and mortar stores. This one's a little bit more expensive, though. This one's going to run you about $38 online. It is the only one of the three that's also a double LP. But this one, it was huge when I first released it. It peaked at number 31 at the Billboard 200, topped the Billboard rap charts. I think it was 5 weeks that it was up on there. And it's same thing. The same thing with Public Enemy. Slick Rick was really kind of changing rap music, kind of breaking the mold for what was going on before this album was released. Well, that's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to picking up this week. Some great stuff coming out this week. I think the Devo box set, you know, it's $175, so it's kind of pricey for me, but if I can get it for a little bit cheaper than that, I might grab that one. I probably will grab the B-52s also. There's a couple other ones I'm kind of on the fence about and I'll stream. But let me know what you guys are looking forward to. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me the thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. That's all I got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.